This is Keeping Up the Conversation, an unscripted podcast. And now, here's your hosts, Tori and Big Ken. Follow Keeping Up the Conversation on Facebook at KUTC Live.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Keeping Up the Conversation. I'm your host, Miss Tori, joined by my always present super duper co-host, Big Ken. What's up?
Hey.
And as always, we start the top of the hour with our hot topics. So, Burger King, the UK Burger King, they were slammed for their post on International Women's Day, their Twitter post, and they said women belong in the kitchen. But here's the thing that so they said that women belong in the kitchen, but then it was immediately followed by if they want to, of course. Yet this is what they said. Okay, so women belong in the kitchen. And then it was like a little delay before the second tweet. And the second tweet said, if they want to, of course, yet only 20% of chefs are women. We are on a mission to change the gender ratio in the restaurant industry by empowering female employees with the opportunity to pursue a culinary career. Well, the thing is that they tried to bait people, but it backfired. And they later, kind of went on to announce that a new scholarship for women who want to pursue the culinary arts is, going to be available. Then later on, Burger King's reps tweeted that they acknowledged that it was their mistake to not include the full explanation in their initial tweet. Big Ken, what are your thoughts about that?
I think that was on purpose. If you ask me, I think that was on purpose. They did it for the clicks. It was basically like they say clickbait. You put that out there, or what they call phishing sometimes. So you put that out there, you know it's going to grab some attention really quick because people are paying attention to what Burger King posts. If you look at some of the other things like Wendy's will post weird stuff or wild stuff sometimes, and I think it's just to get attention. But I don't think they thought it would get the negative attention
Yeah,
that it got.
yeah.
People probably would take it in jest, but yeah, people were kind of upset by it. So it kind of backfired. But as they say, publicity is publicity, good or
Yeah.
bad. Is you get in the looks, you get in the clicks. You get in the likes, you get in the traffic, so it's a win.
And you're right. That's true because a couple of people went on and they were saying, "Oh man, all this talk about Burger King is making me hungry. I think we're gonna get a
See?
Burger King." They were gonna hamburger. So you're right. By maybe in political standards, it probably backfired. But then, on a hungry gut standard, hey, made you want to eat a burger from Burger King. But I just want to be clear that it was Burger King UK that
Yeah.
posted this tweet on Women's Day. So,
And
uh,
sometimes some of these accounts are, I would say, they're not real accounts. They're kind of like a burner account or a farce account
uh-huh,
where they just do it to make jokes or
right.
to just gain publicity. But the common person, number one, most people aren't on Twitter anymore.
Hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. People, if you aren't on Twitter, you're missing a lot because Twitter is where everything begins.
Yeah, it all starts there.
Facts.
Exactly. Yeah,
Everything begins on
it all
Twitter,
starts there.
but
Yes.
a lot of people they don't use Twitter like that, so they're not aware of how it goes until it hits Facebook or IG. So that's
Yeah.
when the masses see it.
Right. All right. So I don't know if on Sunday, if you saw the interview that Oprah did with Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry, but the world is just kind of all abuzz with this blockbuster interview. The interview was it was very revealing and an eye opener. And Prince Harry talked about his father refusing to take his phone calls when he and Meghan decided to step down from their roles as senior family members due to just feeling unprotected by the royal family. One of the things that was really, really heart wrenching and touching to me was when Meghan said that she reached out to the powers that be to let them know about how she was feeling. And what's crazy, Big Ken, is that she talked about she had to talk to the firm and go to human resources to voice her personal concerns. I know that the royal family is a business, but when it comes to personal and really, really sensitive, something that's as sensitive like this, um, oh my gosh, you really don't want to have to go through those channels. If you're feeling a certain way, especially when she talked about being suicidal, that's serious. That's extremely serious. And she also talked about the concern of her unborn sons at that time, skin color. They didn't really go into detail as to who said what, but if you watch the interview with Oprah, when Oprah asked her that, when she said, "Well, who said that?" there is a long pause, and you kind of want to think, did the Queen say that? Um, I don't know, but and then the other tragedy kind of in this story is Piers Morgan. He's one of my favorite hosts on a lot of talk shows, and he made comments about Meghan's mental health, casting his own personal doubt on whether Meghan had suicidal, thoughts at all. Like, was this just something she was saying for publicity? But Meghan launched a formal complaint, against him and the British broadcast TV ITV,
Wow.
relating to his comment. And so it was later on Tuesday announced that Piers Morgan would leave the program, Good Morning Britain. Now, here's what's crazy. So Prince. Prince Harry, his dad, he didn't really have a whole lot of comment. He had an interview recently, and he didn't have a big, a big really thing to say about it. But Meghan Markle's dad, I didn't know this, but he went, he had wrote a kind of sort of like a tell-all, like tabloid book,
Hmm.
funny, as much as I'm in the media, I didn't know this. And he appeared on Good Morning Britain, with Piers Morgan. And he said that he apologized 100 times or so for staging and selling photos and tabloids in the days leading up to his daughter's 2018 wedding. However, he never heard back from her, and he said that he's going to continue to be outspoken. I don't think they've spoken in 3 years. He's going to continue to be outspoken, and he said that when they say that he's taking advantage of the press, he said, "What I want to do is I want to do a story for the press. If I don't hear from them in 30 days, meaning his daughter, then he's going to do another story for the press. When they decide to start talking to him, he'll stop talking to the press." I mean, it's just all. It's not even a mess. It's just a travesty. With all this that's going on. I mean,
Well, I think anytime you have anything like this, number one, for us in America to look at, I guess, something that's going on over there, it's gonna appear weird to us anyway, because they still have a certain way that they do things and they process stuff over there.
right,
As far as going back to what you said about her having to go through a formal process, basically to talk about her personal issues, that's the royal piece of it. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about the royal piece of it, I understand kind of why she probably wanted to detach herself once she got into the inner circle and she saw that it really wasn't a family per se, it was more of a business, the way they ran
right,
things. And
right,
unfortunately, when you get to a certain level, not just the royal family, but if you get into a family that's, that has a lot of money, they have a certain way that they do things.
right.
And if you come from, a different background, or just, you just a regular person, you might not be, privy to the way that they do things, and it might not sit
Exactly.
well with you.
Right.
So, unfortunately, with her situation, She didn't learn those things until she got into that inner circle. So now you have a husband, now you have a child or children to consider. So, he had to make a very, very hard choice as well.
Oh
And,
yeah.
in him stepping down. But in the pieces of, him I've seen in the news and in the media, he just seemed different from them in the first place.
And yeah, and he really did. I know that he still respected their values and their traditions, but still, again, he's human, and so he did a lot of things that people we would think were kind of fun and kind of untraditional at times, but yet he still sort of, in a way, held on still to the traditions and the respect that he had for his family's traditions, and I guess the business.
But
Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, anytime you have situations like that, it seems like he was, trying to make a change into a newer dynamic and try to keep some of the values. But
Right.
just like any younger person, they're gonna have things that they're gonna want to do that's slightly
Mhm.
different from what the older family members want to do, because time comes and changes come. But
Yeah.
in that sense, the royal family is not wanting that change to occur
Not
right
at
now.
all. It's the
So
traditions. The traditions are too long. They've
yeah,
just been around for too long. Queen Elizabeth II, she did break her silence, and there was a statement from Buckingham Palace on behalf of Queen Elizabeth II, and it said that the whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. The issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously. We will be addressed. And will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved family members. So that was her statement, I believe she made on Tuesday. All
yeah,
right,
somebody
let's get
typed that
into
up real well.
real good, right?
Yeah, because I
You
don't
know,
think
but
she said that, but we ain't gonna talk about
yeah, yeah, that's
that.
hey, we'll let CNN come out with that first, and then we'll just
Yeah.
kind of elaborate on it a little bit. All right, let's move on to fun facts with Big Ken. What you got?
Yeah, I come every week with some fun facts, and this week is no different. Have you ever been to the fair and you see all these good things that you can buy? But what's the one common thing that I think most people get at the fair? It's cotton candy, right?
Cotton candy, right?
I don't care who you are, how old you are, you go to the fair, you go to any function, you see some cotton candy, even if you don't buy it as a child. Most of us, when we went to a carnival or fair or something, we wanted the cotton candy. That was something that we just did as a kid. And as you get older, some of us still partake in cotton candy. But the crazy fact that I found out about
Uh-oh.
is, guess who the inventor of cotton candy is? A dentist. A dentist
Really?
named Dr. William Morrison invented cotton candy. So
Really?
you all know what cotton candy is, right? Cotton candy is pure sugar, right?
Yes.
We call it
God,
cotton
yes.
candy. People call it cotton candy because it looks like cotton. But
Uh-huh.
people, it's not cotton. You're not eating cotton. It's just pure sugar. As you can tell, when you eat it, it just melts in your mouth, right? Or
Yeah.
if you leave it in the bag long enough, like some people do, you'll see it shrink down. And if you add water to it, a liquid, you'll see it turn into the little sugar granules.
Absolutely gross, but okay.
So, they invented cotton candy, but it wasn't even called cotton candy then. They called it fairy floss, which is very fitting
Fairy
that
floss? That
that
sounds
that
like some. Okay, yeah,
that
whatever.
a dentist would call the candy fairy floss. People, these are facts. I'm not making this up. This is crazy. So the dentist is feeding the kids the fairy
Fairy
floss,
floss.
and in turn, they eat so much fairy floss. Guess where they have to go to get their teeth fixed?
The
Got to come
dentist.
on back. See,
Oh
it's
my God.
see,
Everything is always a business. Everything is a hook. You
yeah. Hey,
know?
if you don't have enough
Fairy floss.
customers, create something that they need and that they'll want to bring them back. So he set them up
Ah,
like that. But the crazy thing
fairy
is,
floss.
I got some other facts that went along with that, right? Now, a thread of cotton candy is thinner than a human hair. Is that
Hmm.
small? Is that fine, right? Also, the longest cotton candy they've ever made. Guess how much? Guess how long it was? Just
The long,
guess.
oh, you mean like long, like in
Yeah.
length?
There. Just guess how
I'm gonna
long it
say
was.
100 yards.
Nah, wrong. Try Try 13 times that. 13 football fields.
Really? And what was the point? I mean,
You
get
know
all
when they
you
do
know.
when they do Guinness Book of World Records, sometimes there is no point.
Oh,
That
I
is the
see.
point, to get the record.
I see.
So they wanted to do that, and they were able to do it. I don't know how. We'll have to pull that later, but that's crazy.
Yeah,
13
that
football fields.
13 football fields
And the
and
last one is a typical bag of cotton candy contains less sugar and calories than a can of soda. So that ought to tell
really?
you how
I
much
never would
sugar
have thought that.
how much
Yeah.
sugar is in a soda. But
Yeah.
this good old cotton candy, this good old fairy floss
Very floss.
was invented by a dentist. And hey, you know what? Supply and demand. He creates his own supply and demand system. He's putting the candy out there. The kids are eating it. They coming back. They need help. They need to get their teeth fixed. He's in business twice. Two streams
I
of
you
income.
know I'm actually loving your fun facts. I really am. I think that's amazing. I would not have thought that cotton candy was invented by a dentist, and the reason behind it, it all makes sense. It's a business. So.
Yes, yes. It is crazy, but you know what? Hey, that's what the fun facts are for. I go out and I find these obscure things to talk to you all about, because I'm like, I guarantee you they don't know this one.
No,
So if you
I
know
didn't
that
know
one,
that.
comment in the comments. Let me know you knew that. But I know most people probably didn't know that.
Yeah, I like that fun fact, but I will end on it that yeah, cotton candy is absolutely nasty. It's gross. It's like what it actually is how you see people, and I'm gonna just say this real quick. You know how when people are asleep and they like doing that and they're asleep, that's cotton candy. That you can't even taste. It's just a bunch of
Don't don't
a thin
don't
layer of
don't
sugar.
don't
Okay,
don't
like
don't hate. Don't do that. Don't
okay,
do
yeah,
that.
I don't want to rain on cotton candy. I don't want to
Yeah,
rain on
don't do that. That's,
your fairy
yeah,
floss.
yeah.
Okay, all right. So our guest today is is a coach, a motivational speaker, and the author of How to Be One with Greatness. You were born to be great. Welcome to the show, Dr. Mark Baxter.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey there. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I was highly entertained listening to to the fairy floss and things like that, and learned something new. Incredible.
Yeah. You learn something new every day. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a joy to have someone on the show that that's going to take us to higher heights, and so we're really really excited to have you here. So welcome to KUTC Live.
Thank you.
Welcome,
It's a
welcome.
tremendous pleasure. Big Ken, Tori. Listen, I'm just trying not to mess up,
Oh, no.
You already got the thing up here, so I just want to come up here
Yeah.
and finish y'all.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you a little. That feels good and all, but let me tell you a little secret. I've seen you everywhere, so But you know what? But we'll take that. We'll take that.
Appreciate it.
Dr. Baxter, one of the things that we like to do is we always like to have our guests kind of tell us a little bit about them, but I want you to you are such an interesting, an interesting man. I want you to talk about your childhood for a minute and just kind of how you grew up.
Okay. Childhood, yeah, we getting right to the nitty gritty, as they say. I grew up in an impoverished area, as a lot of us did in Philadelphia. And I was the youngest of 5, 3 older brothers and a sister. Mom and dad lived in a household. From the outside, it looked like the making of something good. But from the interior, it was very challenging. And me being the youngest, I was targeted by my mother. My father, he didn't really interact with the family. He did his own thing. From Savannah, Georgia, he was old school. My grandfather was illiterate. So him just providing and doing some things in the household, that was a level up in his eyes. So my mother, coming from South Carolina, she went to the 9th grade. My dad only went to the 6th grade. But for some reason, she didn't like me. Like she didn't like me, and it became obvious, not just to me, but to the rest of my siblings. And I had come to a point in life where enduring something like that, you look at yourself as a child and you think, what am I doing wrong? So I was 10 years old, and it was a specific incident, and this was the first time I encountered God. So, and I was slick. I had all the gifts, and I was just a little package with it, So I didn't, I was navigating as other kids do, and I was selfish as other kids were. And I had this big voice and this great wisdom inside of me, and I needed it to come out, and I didn't have the platform. So my brother that was 3 years older than me, that's the next best thing, the sibling rival. So we went at it a lot.
Right.
We love each other, but my mother always sided with him. So it was this one particular time, she sent them away, and she looked me in the eyes, and I looked at her. I saw she was serious. And she said, "You're not going to amount to anything. You're not anything.
Wow.
The football that you're playing," because I was always a football standout around my neighborhood, and even I started playing organized football at the time. That's not going to amount to anything. And then, I just stood there. I looked in her eyes. This was the first time I really confirmed, like, wow, she really don't like me. And then God came to me. She left. She left me there, dropped the mic on me. So God came to me and said, "Do you believe her?" And I just was overwhelmed. I just stood there. And then he said, "You got two choices. You can believe her, and you're going to spend the rest of your life believing other people that put you down and demean you and tell you can't. Or you can prove her wrong and blaze a trail in your life on the track that I got you on." And I chose the latter. And as a result, you see, he built me up to where I started loving myself a whole lot more. So I realized I couldn't be bitter anymore. I was too good to be bitter. And then after I got to a platform where I was open to receive the greatness of what was for me, then he gave me solutions to help others. So the moral of this story is this: because I was bold and I answered the call at a young age, he built me up to a place where I could empower my mother. And God rest her soul, when God took her home in 2019, in June 20th, that was my best girl. She was in the elderly home and things like that. But I understood, God showed me through my own life the power, the whole process of adversity, that all adversity is paired with the equal, if not greater, blessing. See, the adversity comes free and easy, but we got to fight to secure the blessing. But it's always there if you're willing to fight for it.
And it's so amazing that, in that moment that you recognize sort of the relationship or lack thereof, the relationship that you had with your mom, you as a young kid use that as a teachable moment or a teachable lesson for yourself. And it almost came full circle, because then you sort of taught your mom. That's amazing. And I'm always intrigued. That's why I love people on the show that, when I told you in the beginning that I know you're going to take us to higher heights, because I've heard you speak before. So, and it's just amazing how that became a teachable lesson, not only for you, came full circle, became a teachable lesson, for you and the relationship with your mom. Now, kind of talking about your mom a little bit, did you guys ever get back? I can't say get back, but did you guys ever get together to where you knew before she passed away that she loved you?
I gotta go. All right. See, when I went to college, and I'm sure you guys can relate, Big Ken and Tori, we've experienced some things maybe at a younger age, and we tend unconsciously, not on purpose, we kind of internalize it, put it at a safe place, think I'm not going to bother that again. Maybe it's adversive, maybe it's traumatic, maybe it's just something. But life has a way of unraveling those things. And usually when you don't do it voluntarily, it unravels at the worst possible time. My time was college. I had blocked my whole family away because we were raised in a household, but we were raised not as us, but as individuals, not as a unit. You see, so when I went to college, I went on a football scholarship. I was able to pour all of my pain and everything into football, and I was really good. So when I was in college, the first time we had to go home from campus, and my friend Tim said, "Man, I can't wait to get home." Me, I'm dreading going home. I got a girlfriend on campus. I'm staying with her a couple of days, but I had to go home. So, so he said, and I was just listening to him, I was in the moment. And he said, "Man, I miss her so much. That's my best friend." And it just echoed in my ear like, best friend, best friend. And then my whole life came full circle, and God said, "It's time." So he told me to call my mom because we were to a point where if I would see her at our house, because she had moved out when I was like 14, if I would see her in the house, it would be like, what's up? Like my homie in the street. Wow. And she would be like, hey, what's up? Like that. So I'm in college and I call her and set up a meeting with her. And she said, okay, baby. And this and that. She always portrayed, because I think in her heart she meant well. She just didn't know better. She was ill herself. So real short, I'm gonna cut it short. It's not gonna
no. You go ahead. Okay. This is good. Yeah.
So what happened is we set it up. I come home. I don't know what to feel, but I'm excited because, again, sometimes we become a deer stuck in the headlights when we're challenged with life, but we don't realize that all we got to do is move.
But it's like you said before going home, God spoke to you. So that was already amazing, and you already felt that in your spirit and your soul. So yeah, I can understand how you felt so good about that, knowing something good was coming. Yeah.
It is, but God speaks to us a lot. It's the obedience. And usually when he speaks to us, when it gets to that point that he actually speaks to us and it's that impactful, that is so clear, it's usually going to be extremely difficult,
Right.
So this is where I was. So I go home and she's there. Hey, Mom, this is the first time we had hugged in years. So my mother. So I said, Mom, and we got right to it. Mom, I just was thinking, and, I'm in college. And at that point, I thought I was going to the pros and I was, on that track. And, I just want to settle some things in my life. And this has been on my heart for years. And so I went on to talk about some of the things that happened when you told me that I was nothing. And when you did this to me, when you sided with this, and when you did that, when I won the whole contest in the 8th grade at the school, the Christian school you sent us to. And because it was me, I won an Atari. It just came out. You said contribute it to the church, put it in the offering. See, but had it been my brother, we'd have went home with that Atari.
Right,
right. Treat me. So I said all these things. So afterwards, she was quiet for maybe 5-10 seconds. And then she looked at me and she said, baby, I never did any of those things. And it's like, it was a conflicting feeling that I never felt. Even to this day, I never felt it. It was a spiritual high and then a devilish low all at the same time. I felt so angry and I could have, easily ripped my mom's head off. I felt that much rage. And then God said, no, I ran in the room and I cried. I'm crying on the bed. Ran in the room, crying on the bed. And I said, God, why would you tell me to do that if this was the outcome? And then it was quiet. And then I got tired of hearing myself cry for a little bit because I'm a solution guy. So I couldn't do that for too long. And then once I got a little cooler, he said, now forgive her.
Wow. That's the hard part. To me.
So then I started praying. I got you, Tori. I started praying for the power to forgive her. And then over time, I just was at a place mentally and emotionally that I had the power and I even had the vision how to do it. And that's what led to our relationship being built and the trust being built and me seeing. And this is what God told me. Then I'm going to drop the mic and it's all yours.
No.
Said, and this is deep. He said, listen, if you had to internalize your life because it felt so painful to revisit your family and the incidents that happened, imagine how painful your mom's life had to be that she was in that much denial.
Wow.
So now what was anger and resentment went to empathy and care.
Right.
For her.
And it's so amazing how, God shows up, and because I think that in certain situations, had he not showed up, you would still be bitter. You would still be angry, and, it's amazing that he showed up before he showed up in your life as a little kid, and then, you going to college and going home and I'm sure that it had to be just a burden lifted. It doesn't matter that the relationship, in my opinion, and I want you to kind of elaborate on it, but it doesn't matter that the relationship started or, became what it was after years, but it was what it was. And she knew it before she passed away. After that, before your mother passed away, did you guys continue to maintain that, I guess, cultivate and feed that relationship?
it was incredible. It was almost as if it's everything you said, Tori, and it really lends to the point that I was making in the beginning. Adversity is only difficult in the beginning, but if you're willing to fight for the blessing, you will milk the blessing, and then it's good. You'll see how it had to happen to develop you so that you can receive what you were supposed to receive. So again, that situation had to happen in order for me to become who I was supposed to be, you know, and I totally embrace all adversity because this is the setup in life. Life is an opposite. Usually the best foods are the ones we don't like. You know, the things that's best for us are the things that we don't want to do. See, it's the same with the universe, you know. The thing that I didn't want to do that was the hardest, I just had to commit and be bold and trust God, and then it ended up blessing my life more than anything else. And yes, we did keep the relationship. And here's the thing. This is going to blow your mind too. She had got dementia, right? And what happened is that she forgot that she wasn't supposed to like me. You know?
Oh, wow.
And the other thing is that out of everyone in the entire family, I'm the only voice that she never forgot. So what God showed me,
take your time.
What he showed me was that what devastated me for so long and what was so heavy for so long in my life, it really was a compliment. She really admired me to that degree, that much, that she didn't know how to handle it.
Wow.
And because we lived in such a divisive household and she played the cards, she pulled the strings to that household, I wasn't conformable. I was born a leader.
Wow.
I could never detach myself from it. I tried plenty of times just to be down, just to be one of them. It's not in me.
Yeah. You know, Big Ken, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to point out that, you know, two things. One thing you said when you went home from college and you had that conversation with your mom and you kind of poured your heart out. A lot of people don't understand. Sometimes for you, that was therapeutic because you got a chance to, as I say all the time, unpack your bag. You were carrying around those burdens for years and years and years, and then you actually got a chance to, you know, to get that out. So that was therapeutic for you. It was therapeutic for her because, you know, it caused that whole thought process to start flowing. Number one. Number two, one thing I always point out to, you know, people when they have issues with their parents, and I didn't realize this until I got older, was sometimes we forget that our parents had a life before us.
Yeah,
and our parents,
that's so true.
Our parents had an upbringing as well, and some of them didn't have the best upbringing. So they're still carrying around the damage that they had from when they were, you know, when they were growing up. So they never unpacked. Because before us, really, you know, with this generation now, we're learning how to deal with the unpacking, the mental health piece of it. But, you know, previously that wasn't such a big deal. You were taught to just, you know, be quiet and just be strong and keep moving instead of talking about it. So all these things happen for a reason, and you are who you are because of these things. And this was just, you know, something that was ordained by God. And because you were obedient to him throughout those different places, you're where you are today. So that's a testimony in itself.
Yeah.
You spot on. You spot on. Just like forgiveness is really for you. You know, not the other person. But you're right. It unpacks for me. Let the load off. I like to say the shaking up soda syndrome. It's like shaking up a can of soda and cracking it a little bit and sitting inside of you. See, that just seep all that negativity, all that hate, all that, but it pollutes all the other organs. You see, so I was able to get that soda out of me, and in turn, you know, it was able to, because the thing is this: always seek understanding over judgment. Because see, judgment is all based on assumptions. You can't help but to make other negative assumptions when you're judging, which leads to negative emotions, which leads to you attracting more negativity into your life because the universe sends back the physical manifestation of whatever you feel. But see, understanding, that leads to empathy, and it takes the emotional edge off. Let's say if we were roommates, Big Ken, you had a room, I had a room, but the same apartment. So, you know, every night, like 3 a.m, I I hear a loud clicking noise from your room. It sounds like it's your jaw clicking, and it wakes me up every morning. And it's been going on for like 6 months. So I'm judging you. I'm assuming that you're doing it on purpose because I got a girl, you don't got a girl, because I'm making up all these reasons to prove, right? This is one day you come in the house, and so I'm judging you. I'm making negative assumptions. I'm irritable every time you come around because it reminds me. So now I'm bringing negativity into my own life. I'm attracting it until one day you come home from work, and I'm like, Ken, let's talk. I said, no, you say, Mark, let's talk. And I say, what's up, man? I hardly want to address you. You like, I've probably been irritating you in the morning, but let me share with you. When I was younger, I had a critical accident. I almost died. I got shot in the jaw, and I had emergency surgery. So every night when I get into a deep REM sleep, my jaw moves uncontrollable. And I've been told in the past when I was with people that it is loud. So I apologize if I'm waking you up in the middle of the night. See, what that does, understanding doesn't mean agreement. It just means I understand. I don't agree with it because guess what? I'm still pissed off because you waking me up at 3 in the morning. Guess what? Because I understand what you went through, I empathize with you, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice because you had to deal with such a sacrifice in your life. See, that's the difference between understanding and judgment. See, God was leading me to my best possible life, but again, it's the hard road. The road less traveled, but if you travel it, the very thing that you thought you was missing, he gonna blow your mind and give you that times 1,000.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta trust. You gotta believe, and it's not easy. So this is what I'm gonna give you another good picture that you can use it for the rest of your life. Doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing is both equally as difficult. Both. But here's the difference. In doing the wrong thing, it never gets easier. And in the end, you get punished. But if you do the right thing, it eventually gets easier. And in the end, you get a reward.
Right. Yeah. All right there. Now, I want to talk about, I've watched you a lot, and one of the things that comes up a lot is your uniqueness as a motivational speaker. You can search the internet and motivational speakers on the internet, and you're going to find so many of them. But one of the things that pops up is that you say that you have a unique perspective and a diverse set of knowledge that sets you apart from the other motivational speakers. Can you I've seen it, but for those that have not, can you kind of tell us what that unique perspective is?
I'll give you a quote, even better. The late Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they never forget the way you made them feel.
Yes.
The thing about me is this, like, you feel me, like I'm touching you, and I'm not just seeing this from an arrogant place, because the truth is, I didn't ask for it. I just got it. I was chosen. So I give you something that you can feel. I transforms life totally. And I start with the mindset. I'm able to dissect the mind, and I'm able to make correlations and similes. Like, I'm like a rapper. Like, I use double entendres with words and make all these different things. And then I'm spiritual. So I'm a totality of a whole lot of things, because I had to suffer and endure a whole lot of things. And because I understand that life is perfect. It's always happening for you, not to you, regardless of what it may look like or feel like. And see, when you can really believe that, you can milk every situation for its blessing. And that's what I do. So what makes me different is because my energy, nobody can match my energy in the world. And match that with my wisdom, not just as a behavioral expert and what I've endured, but I'm a trained behavioral therapist. I've made millions and lost it all. I got great business acumen. I've started businesses from scratch, ran them, different things like that. So now it's all coming back, but it's all through purpose. It's all through God. It's a difference. Before it was all ability. I can do that. And I did it. But in the end, it's no foundation. It's just doing. I might as well just be all vanity. It don't amount to anything. There's no purpose behind it. So that's the difference now.
So it's kind of. Oh, go ahead, Big Ken.
No, go ahead.
All right.
No, I was going to say this. So your uniqueness is almost, which, when you say it, people can't compete with it. One, it's a blessing. It was given to you. You, like you say, you didn't ask for it. One of it, part of it is that it was a blessing. The other one is life lessons and experience that you went through it. And so how can, it's almost like you always hear people say, well, a guy with a girlfriend, or, but he's a mother's boy. It's like you cannot compete with that when it was, when it's given to you. And it's kind of like, a girlfriend can never compete with the love that a mother has for her son. And so, I really do like that. I like that. The first part, of course, I like it because you were blessed with it. What is someone else who was not blessed with it, or who did not go through that journey that you went through? What are they going to do? So I'm sorry, Big Ken, what were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna ask Doc, what does being a student of life mean? I read a few things about you. I Googled you, and I kept seeing that kind of pop up when, in stuff that you were talking about, a student of life. So what does that mean? What is that? Can you describe that to us?
Very significant. Great question. This is the thing about life. All throughout life, anytime you out in whatever, in your house, outside, the universe is communicating to us. Anything that arouses our senses is trying to tell us something. Any situation that you were in, even if none of it was your fault, even if you got rear-ended from the back, there's something that you're supposed to learn. See, so what I've learned to do, like I was blessed with the ability, how you can see, like we're having this podcast here, we're having this show, and maybe in 6 months or next year, you're like, oh, I remember when Dr. Mark was there, and you'll have an epiphany, right? See, the thing about me is I have all my epiphanies in the moment. See, because I've learned how to not only live life in the here and now, but also be receptive to those very nuances that I just mentioned to you of the universe that's communicating to me, and that's being a student of the game. The teachability index is 4 stages of the teachability index. This is from Think and Grow Rich, your great scholars, even in the last book, Jim Quick, Limitless, one of the top books out now. He's a brain expert, mindset expert. But the teachability index is 4 steps. The first step is unconsciously incompetent. This is when you don't know how ignorant you really are because you hang around other ignorant people. Y'all talk about ignorant stuff and you never leave the environment. So you're just ignorant and you don't know how ignorant you are. That's the lowest level. The next level is confident, or is conscious incompetence. This is when you start to look around like, wait. I guess I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I got out of my neighborhood and I see these people doing this. They're elevating here. I'm elevating. So that's the second level. Still not where you want to be, but it's what you're going to do after that. The third level, that's consciously competent. We just got a president out that was consciously competent. This is when you read your own press. This is when you know exactly how smart you are. The problem with that is you're not inclined to get smarter because you're content. You're stuck in your ways. And the top level is unconsciously competent. This is when you don't know exactly what you know, which leaves you constantly open to receiving and learning more.
Wow.
So I try to stay there, and that's all done in a mindset. See, I'm a mindset coach because that's our greatest power. And I have a mindset methodology, alignment methodology that I use, and it's based on the law of alignment, which is anything you say, do, or think must be in alignment with what you want to manifest. The more closely your beliefs are aligned with truth, the greater power you have to manifest your creation. So that's how my entire coaching is set up. And it's amazing you talking about Great Britain and things like that, because I picked up a new client from Great Britain that transitioned over to America. Just yesterday we had our first session. So everything, and I really walk around believing that life is perfect. So let me tell you what that does in simplifying my life. I never question what coulda, shoulda, or woulda happened. Just that alone. If people could just eliminate that alone, that'll free up about 50 to 75% of their mental
That takes a lot from a lot of people. Everyday conversations. People are coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's a lot. That would take a big movement.
A lot of people live there. A lot of people's entire life is a hypothetical.
Right. Yeah.
What if? Oh, maybe. Or maybe. Come on, you can't make progress.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as staying the same, so you're only going backwards. Go ahead.
Going backwards, right. I want to talk about your book for a second. I had the opportunity to read some of it. Mm-hmm. And in chapter 1 of your book, that chapter titled "Getting to Know Yourself," it was. I'm always trying to not reinvent myself, but just learn more about me. But in there, you say, can you look within your soul and explore the depths of self, or do you just know the person you create? That is really deep, because what if someone, what if they don't like what they see or who they are, the person they created? How do you begin to reinvent yourself if you don't even know, where to start?
That's a great question. I mean, and that's a needed question, because a lot of people aren't bold enough to ask that question. They're just going to presume that, oh, I know it, but they really don't. Okay, so what you do is this. The thing about it is that we have a tendency as human beings, nobody in this world, we all want to feel necessary, important, and sufficient. It doesn't matter. Even the bum that's living on the street, it's innate. We're born with that. So right. What happens is that we put on layers in order to coexist with whatever we want to be a part of. So if I want to join that fraternity, I got to put on a layer. Maybe I'm missing a little here. I want to change that up so I can totally fit better to get in that. If I want to get in a sorority, I do the same there. If I want to get this job, okay, I'm not as good at this. So next thing you know, you code switching and you doing this, that. So these are artificial layers that we're putting on ourselves. But, they allow us to fit and coexist with the entity that we put them on for, but that's not who we are.
Right.
So what happens when you get to know yourself is that it's almost like a contractor building a new home. Even if it's a module home that they bring with the helicopter and drop down, it's never on flat land. Believe it or not, they always got to dig deep down into the ground, the foundation. And a lot of times when you dig down into that foundation, I mean, you find dead bodies, you find, dirty diapers, you find all kind of stuff. But see, that's what we got to do to ourselves. We just can't look in the mirror on the surface. We got to dig down to the foundation.
Got to dig deep, right?
Yeah, and when you dig deep, you're going to find that, when 8 years old, when this person disappointed me emotionally, I'm still back there. I packed that bag up, never revisited. At 15, so when you dig deep down there, you're gonna find all of this stuff out. And this is only the first step, because the book, Get to Know Yourself, Accept Yourself, Love Yourself, then you're in position to fully effectively give yourself. So what it is, this is just the first step, but you at least gotta look at all that's in there. Because you ain't gotta try to think about it, because you already know. Them shaking up sodas that you hit in there to internalize, that's just shaking up, all that erupts.
Wow.
That's
Wow. I want to ask you a question, and I'm not, Big Ken and I, we're really not ones to, kind of like to talk about race, especially when it comes to us. But, I want to ask you this. Why do you think our people in particular feel the need to be rewarded for surviving a situation? For example, it's like, oh, I got shot and I survived. My parents were on drugs. But why don't they just remove themselves from that situation?
Again, good question. I'm going to take you back to the point I made that every person in the world, it doesn't matter your financial status, we all want to feel important, necessary, and sufficient. And people that don't have the work ethic or the means to do that in positive ways, they'll take it in negative ways, because that desire trumps the other things. So that's what that is. But I'm going to tell you, our people, we've been conditioned, through not just slavery and Jim Crow and all that, but it's still conditioned now. You look at a commercial, you're not going to see a black man in Black woman as a couple being portrayed on any commercial anymore. So you have all of these, and I read a book called The Hidden Influence, and it's social influence. That's why I like television and all this. So they're still manipulating us psychologically and things to continue to perpetuate a lot of these thought processes. But I'm gonna tell you ultimately what it is. It's a poverty mindset. Let's cut right to the chase. It's a poverty mindset. See, the poverty mindset says, I hate being in poverty. Oh, this and this is complaining. All the universe registering is poverty. Universe doesn't decipher, oh, she don't mean that to her. No, the universe said she's thinking poverty again. And you attract whatever you think about most often. See, great people, successful people, they think success. They think greatness. Even when they're going through adversity, because they understand they're going to milk it for the blessing. Right. This is just where I'm at right now. You attract what you think about most often. See, our people continue to allow social influences, the vanity, social media, Facebook, because it allowed me to be somebody that I'm not, because I want to feel important, necessary, and sufficient without earning it. Again.
But okay, I get it, and so let me give you an example. And I know Big Ken, he's always saying, I'm random. But look, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Okay, nothing against anybody else, but I live in Compton. Okay, right. And I know there's another world out there because I've seen it on TV. Now, why is it that I cannot? Well, why is it that people in Compton, a woman in Compton, a man in Compton, not everybody in Compton does not have that ghetto mindset? Right. So why is it that I don't get myself together and I move out that situation? Why do people want to stay stuck? You can move. It's like I was talking to my son one day about that. And I'm like, you know what I would do? I would lie. I would give them a different address. I said, I know one of them women has a nice wig she can put on and go apply for a job at the mall and get herself together and get out of that situation. Why do they stay stuck? That's why I'm so confused.
There's a lot of answers to that. See, this is the thing you got to understand, Tori. We're you, Big Ken, and we're here talking. We're all logical people. We're on a podcast. We're thinking logically and things like that. But I tell you what, if I had a burden that was on top of me, like I was flat broke and I had no job, I had no understanding where my dollar was coming from, then everything that I did, if I didn't have control of my mind, that thought would hamper, because it would always overshadow everything else. You see, so It doesn't allow me to think rationally. It keeps bringing me back to the thought of that, which is really recreating that, which you don't realize. But it's your mindset. That's the bottom line. It all comes down to your mindset. Wow. It comes down to your thought process. Everything does. With everything that's happened in our lives right now is because of what we think, how we feel, and how we responded to situations. That's what everything that's happened in each of one of our lives, it was from those three things, and it's continuing to be on those three things. Subconsciously or consciously, your mind is still working even when you're sleeping.
I'm sorry, Big Ken, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm always, saying,
I'm always going.
a lot of people in those situations become comfortable because that's all they know. So change is uncomfortable. So even people that's not in those situations with poverty have a problem with change because you're gonna go through some uncomfortable stages. Mm-hmm. You're gonna go through some self-reflection, and sometimes that's hard for people in general. So can you imagine being in the situation you're in, even if you're middle class or even if you have money, you having a hard time having, issues of self-reflection and trying to move forward. But these people who not only have those issues, but they have a financial issue on top of that, and they've been born in that, and they haven't ever seen anybody leave that area other than somebody who's an athlete or somebody who's in music. So they don't have a blueprint for how to get out of there. So, it's one of those things where it's like Dr. Mark said, it's a bunch of different things, mm-hmm. but it does just revolve around a mindset. And if you listen to people who come from those situations, who are successful, that's one of the main things they talk about is their mindset and how it was different from the people around them, or how they had to change their mindset in order to remove themselves from that set of circumstances.
No, you made a great point, Big Ken. I'll be real quick, Tori. I'll be real quick. You made a great point. And my quote that I use for that point is proactive people get what they want and reactive people get whatever's left over. See,
wow.
Comes down to you got to be proactive. And because oftentimes we don't have that blueprint, we're more reluctant to be proactive because we don't know, actually the blueprint for it. Whereas someone else, middle class, upper, or they have a blueprint, they're more proactive and they can get it. But here's the other caveat: you're going to move regardless. But the best way to move is by you being proactive and move. But if you don't, the universe is going to force your hand, and that's usually the most uncomfortable because it's at the worst time, and it's not how you want it to be.
Now I know you are passionate about a lot of things. I know you won, so many awards, and and one of the things that I hear that you're extremely passionate about is our single black fathers, and you encourage men, from what I read, to not just strive until they get it right, but strive until they no longer get it wrong. Why do you think single black fathers are so unappreciated?
I think because it's just the stigma all the way around about fathers in general first, before we get to the single black fathers. I mean, it's just almost as if, mothers are so appreciated, and rightfully so. For the most part, the nurturers, and they conceive the baby and all of that. But fathers step up, and I think because we just different in nature, we kind of get overlooked. We don't complain for the most part a lot, and we don't. So at least for me, speaking personally, I'm okay with being overlooked as a parent, as a father, because it's not really about me. Now if it was something else, activity that was about adults, and I'm competitive. I want to be, but something like this, I'm okay with it, and I think that's why you don't hear a lot of complaints as much. Put it this way, more complaints, because there are some complaints from single black fathers or other fathers, because I think we understand that it's all about the child. And that's one of the principles that I used to talk about on the show. I used to do a single black fathers every Wednesday. It's child-centered. A lot of times parents want the child to be what they want them to be, and that's good. You got aspirations for your child, but you got to first meet them where they are. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of parents fall short. Oftentimes parents also, let me just give you the correct thing to do. That way we don't have to go. The two statements to ask yourself whenever you're making a decision for or about your child is this. The first is this decision going to place my child in the best possible position for success? So anytime you make any decision for your child, or ask yourself that. The second thing you ask yourself is this decision going to bring my child closer to making an independent transition to being an effective contributing member of society? Those are the two qualifying questions that I said every week on my show. It ran for like 2 years. And those were the two qualifying questions I over and over all through the show. That's how they are right at the top of my head right now. But if you can answer yes to both of those questions, not one, both, mm-hmm. odds are you're going to be a spectacular, not just an ordinary or average parent. You're going to really be spectacular. And that's really what it means by putting your child first.
I mean, it's crazy because what you said about those two statements, you could also, if you didn't look at it, and as you were talking, I was thinking about it. If you didn't look at it as just like, a child, you could use those two statements in your everyday life. It's like, okay, is this situation going to put me in the best position possible to be successful? And so, I like those statements. In your book, and I know I keep talking about your book because it is amazing, but in your book, this statement rings true for a lot of people. You talk about the artificial wall of trust. And I look at like the artificial wall for a lot of things. I look at a lot when I worked in the office. I was having trouble with with someone at work, and so I remember my supervisor told me, she's like, oh, she doesn't like you for this and this and that. But it's one of those things where, just be nice. But I felt like I was being fake. Like I had to put up this artificial. I'm like, you're telling me to do something that's not real, So, but in your terms, what is the artificial wall of trust?
See, artificial wall of trust, I'm not certain exactly. I'll just talk all the way about it. I'm not sure exactly which point you're referencing. But the artificial wall of trust is basically, it starts with you, with trusting yourself. See, you set the tone for trust, for treatment, by how you trust and treat yourself. You see, so an artificial wall of trust usually goes up in reference to other people, but the reason it goes up is because you really don't trust yourself.
So is the artificial wall, is it good or is it bad?
It's bad. Any artificial wall is bad because it's taking you away from the true essence of the soul, the essence of who you really are. See, the truth is the gift was placed in you at birth. So right after, from infancy to 6, you learn, you operate at genius level. You taking in more than anything. So you're not challenging any new information. So that's when you're at your smartest in consumption. But after that, you start challenging stuff because you think you have enough in your arsenal to challenge it. You see, but the truth is, after that, the walls start. From auto-suggestion. Your mom says she didn't like roller coasters. You never been on one, but now you go to an amusement park and you tell your boyfriend, I don't like roller coasters. They make you scary, and you repeating what your mom says. You never rode a roller coaster.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Wow. Now, Dr. Baxter, you have already accomplished so much. So I got to ask you this question. What's next on your journey?
Well, that's funny because, I'm headed for TV. Like, I'm headed for television. And, because this, like, the truth of the matter is that I'm here to change the world. This energy is going to impact the world. You see, but the truth is that you say I've accomplished so much, but the truth is, Tori, Big Ken, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface.
Oh, you know what? I hear that. Dr. Steve Perry said the same thing, and I look at you guys and look at your credentials and what you've done and the impact you've done, for the community and so many people, and it's like I just scratched the surface.
And I'm not even trying to be modest. I'm not trying to just blow smoke. No, I get so excited. I'm chapter 7 bankruptcy after making millions. You see, so now we pushing back, and now it's the writing on the wall, the energy, the mindset is all coming in. Success is caving in on me. It can't miss me.
Wow. Oh my, Dr. Baxter, we definitely have to have a part 2 because there are there's so many things that I wanted to elaborate on. And so, I'm going to reach out to your PR people because I think that you have so much to give, and I just have so many questions that I need to ask because I didn't get to really elaborate on a lot of stuff, that I feel I want people to hear. I think that it's more than just reading your book. It's more than just watching your videos. It's having you here one-on-one and getting that from you. So, definitely going to have a part 2, but until then, I definitely want to thank you so much for being on the show, but just for your extreme honesty. It's appreciated, and for sharing the blessing that was given to you with me and Big Ken and our audience as well. So thank you.
Let me share something with you guys. Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And I've been running all day, and God said because I talked to my rep, and she mentioned this, but that was like a month ago, and I didn't hear anything else, and as I'm out, someone was saying, Mark, take it light, got my workout, got my stuff, this and that, and then it was email checking time. Now, granted, this was like 4:30 p. This is like 4:30 p.m.
Oh my gosh!
So I looked at the top of it, and my word is my bond. Like, I like to rep me the best I can. So I'm not about to miss nothing or be late for, you know what I mean? So I said, oh, and then I said, no, life is perfect. And then I kept going down. At 7:15 Central Time, I'm done.
Oh my gosh!
It
Well,
worked out. Listen, life is always happening for you, not to
yes,
you,
that's
regardless
right.
of what it may look like or
That's
feel
right.
like.
And I'm glad in your perfect splendor, you were on time. You were early.
I had to be. I said, because after that little thing, let me make sure there ain't no other little kinks in here. So I
So
went
pop it
and I
up.
logged in early. I didn't put my name in, but I said, we're going to sit it right there.
That's good. That's fine. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. And to learn more about Dr. Mark Baxter, visit Mark Baxter, Mark with the C, markbaxter.com. And again, Dr. Baxter, we definitely would like to have you on the show again, just to kind of do a part two.
It sounds great.
Indeed.
Listen, Tori, Big Ken, thank you for having me. Thank you for considering me. Thank you for giving me this stage. Keep the
Yeah.
great work up that you guys are doing. The energy is flowing. The connection is there. It's cohesive. So keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank
Sky's
you
the limit.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Thank
happy birthday. Hey, my birthday's in a couple of days, so you know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to the Pisces.
you. What day? What day? What day?
My birthday is actually Sunday.
What's that? What's that? The 14th?
Yeah.
That's my boy, my best boy. Happy birthday, Big
I
Ken.
know y'all make me want
I
to have
knew
a
you were. I knew
birthday.
you were a good dude. I knew you
No
were a good
doubt.
dude. See the energy. See the energy,
No
man.
doubt. Yeah, we
Definitely.
got nothing. We got doubt. A lot of doubt.
Yeah. Don't ever change, Dr. Baxter. You're the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. He's super duper dude. I love it. Man,
Yeah,
his
great
energy
energy.
is it
But you know
yeah, it's
what? You know, us
flowing.
Pisces, we got great energy
Oh
like that. You
God.
know what
You
I'm
know
saying? We're
what?
positive people.
Don't let me pop the Gemini's collar. Come on,
I don't know. It's two of y'all, so I don't know. We
That's
pop
that's
two
that,
different callers.
that's what makes it.
Yeah, because it's two personalities in there. Gemini.
Yeah.
No.
That's how we keep them off balance, you know? It's like
Hmm.
that's
Yeah,
you
y'all
never
keep them
know.
off balance because y'all don't have no
Yeah.
balance.
You don't know what you're gonna get with the Gemini.
Exactly.
Be quiet. Yeah,
Ugh.
that was awesome. You know, I think that it's always and it's just always so I think important to have people like Dr. Baxter on the show because not only the energy that they bring to the show or that he brought to the show, but his knowledge, his honesty, and
Yeah.
there was so many things that he talked about. Some things he went deep, a lot of things were kind of surface, and that's why I said, I know on another show we had to do a part two because there was so much more, and he has it, and we want to receive it, and we want to give it. We want to help him give it, and we want to give him that platform to
Yeah.
to tell his story. It's just simply amazing, and I learned a lot, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean the key thing though, and people, and even years ago, I learned that the mindset is the one of the biggest things that can hinder you or help you in life.
Right.
You can have people come from the same set of circumstances, and this person, excel, and this person, decline, simply because their mindset is negative or positive.
Right.
So, you have to be aware of that at all times. And like you
Hmm.
said, you have to ask yourself those questions. Is this going to put me in a situation where it's going to, be detrimental to me, or is this going to help me? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And sometimes just asking yourself a simple question like that will cause you to make a better decision versus just doing something on a whim and then being
Mm.
reactive to it instead of proactive. So,
And it's funny you say that. And same thing to Dr. Baxter. When he said that the two scenarios that you have to kind of put yourself in is that a lot of times when I'm talking to people or someone does something, I have to ask myself, is this is my quick response, you know, going to going to hurt or help the situation. And so sometimes you have to kind of step back and ask yourself that as well. Is it even worth it to respond, or does it even affect basically does it even affect my next 5 minutes? If it doesn't, you know what, then you just kind of move on from it.
Exactly.
So yeah. So yeah, awesome. Awesome guy. Can't wait to have him can't wait to have him back on the show. Yes, I know you didn't want me to say this, but yes, I did want to say happy birthday to you coming up this Sunday. I am,
Oh, don't do that.
I could be like what's her name that sang the song for President.
Oh no.
No. Oh, trust me, I'm not gonna do it.
No.
But I'm just saying, how she's like, happy birthday.
No. We don't want you trying to sing anything.
You know what?
Stick to writing. You're a journalist. And you code and you do all these amazing things and you have all these amazing talents, and singing ain't one of them. So stay away from it.
Hey, you know what? We have too many positive people on our show for you to tell me that I cannot do this. You know what? I'm not going to show you my talent. I was going to show you my talent.
You have to know your limits. Self-reflection is key.
How about if I put it on mute and I sing?
Well, how about if you do it when we log out?
Oh, but I want the world to hear me.
Oh, no. Then I got to explain why we had this lady on the show ruining everybody's hearing because she wanted to try to sing a tune. Nah, we good. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate the birthday wishes.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Well, happy birthday. I know you're going to celebrate like a champ. Drink some water for me.
Yeah, no doubt.
I also want to tell everyone that we got our books from Dayo. He sent us our Pipe Dreams book. Remember, we interviewed Dayo last week, and he came out with his first book. He was extremely excited about that. So got the book, and he sent me yours too. He also sent a really nice card. I didn't open yours, so I'll make sure I include it in the book and send it to you when I mail it out to you.
I appreciate it.
So thank you, Dayo. If you're watching, thank you.
Yeah.
So this is the last episode of season 2, and we'll be back. Yes, it is. It went quick.
It went so fast.
Yes. We'll be back on April 10th for season 3 with more of the thought-provoking interviews that we know you love. But until then, you can catch KUTC live right here on Facebook every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Or if you missed the show, you can go to blacklineentertainment.com. So every week, what do I do, Big Ken?
You end the show with a wonderful
quote.
All
right. So, and this week's quote is, every man needs a good woman when his life is a mess, because just like the game of chess, the queen protects the king. All right, everybody. Until next time.
Make sure y'all keep up the conversation. See you in season 3. Peace.
Follow Keeping Up the Conversation on Facebook at KUTC Live.